Noswaith Thar, and a very good evening from North Wales. Welcome to Match Day Live as Wrexham return to Carabao Cup action in the third round tonight for the first time since 1981, hoping to beat Reading to progress into the last 16. Adversaries, of course, we know well from last season's 2 matches in League One. And adversaries that Phil Parkinson knows very well. This was the club he represented for much of his playing career. Phil, whenever you have a fixture against Reading, does it always feel a little bit different to the rest?
Yeah, I obviously spent 11 years of my career at Reading. My 3 kids were all born in the town. So, yeah, it's a special place for myself and my family, and had some great times down there.
You had a couple of good battles with Reading last season, both teams winning the home game. Reading making a number of changes tonight, 9, you've made 10. What sort of battle do you expect this evening?
I mean, similar really to last season in terms of they've got a lot of young athletic players in the team, and they're a dangerous counter-attacking side, can leave themselves open on the transition themselves. And, you know, I think if you look at the Orient game at the weekend, you know, Orient had a lot of moments where a bit more quality, they could have won the game really. But listen, they've got some dangerous players, and yeah, it's going to be a competitive game.
You've elected to make 10 changes tonight. Callum Doyle keeps his place. What's behind your thinking?
Yeah, first of all, Callum, obviously got that booking in the first half, and I was just a bit worried about him getting a second yellow, and I thought we didn't need to take that risk, especially with Brunty on the bench. So I think with him just having 45 and Brunty, I thought it's right for both those two to start tonight. Obviously, Scary hasn't played since the Preston game, so it's a good opportunity to get him ready, which is obviously a busy 10 days for us coming up. Yeah, and the rest of the side, Barney's done well when he's played, comes in, obviously is fatigued quite a lot the weekend. There's no way we're going to risk him tonight. Longy as well, it's a good opportunity for Jimmy to get some time. George Thompson comes in, and Matty James, Ben Sheaf, obviously, first game for a long time, wasn't going to be risked, and obviously George Dobson makes way for Matty James, and then Nathan Broadhead needs minutes after his injury against Sheffield Wednesday. Smudger deserves the opportunities. I think he's been brilliant for us when he's come on and also when he started. And it's great to get Elliot Lee out on the pitch as well, because he had an injection in his knee, so he's missed a bit of training over the last few weeks, but he's raring to go tonight.
Now, you tweaked the formation on Saturday, a bit away from your favoured 3-5-2. What's the setup likely to be tonight, Phil?
Yeah, we're going to go with the same as the weekend, with two holders in the midfield, with Matty and Tomo, and Elliot, Smudger and Broadhead as the front three. Worked really well for us at the weekend, and we want to feel that tightness with the team out of possession, and more importantly, when we're attacking, we want to make sure we're not vulnerable on the counter, which I thought in the main we did that well at the weekend, and obviously still carried a real threat.
3 wins on the road this season at Preston, at Millwall and obviously at Norwich, but no wins yet here at the Stoke Kairas. How much does that weigh on the shoulders of the players?
I haven't really asked them, but this place has been a fortress over the years, but I think we've got to earn the right to get it back to that stage we've been at for many years. And tonight we want to try and change the feel of the game, where the games we've had have been too open. In reality, we've been punished in the games, and we've had chances in each game to have got something from all of them. Obviously, we drew against Wednesday and beat Hull on penalties. But just want to make sure tonight, and what we worked on last week and yesterday, is making sure there's more of a secure feeling about us when we're attacking.
Perfect. Well, Phil, all the best tonight. Thanks
you.
for joining us as ever on Matchday Live. Wrexham boss Phil Parkinson giving us his thoughts as he makes 10 changes to the Wrexham team this evening, who are going to square up to Reading. Only Callum Doyle surviving from the 11 who started on Saturday. Well, it's great to have the Matchday Live panel in position tonight. Mia Roberts, Andy Morell, our regulars, and Mark Howard joining us for the first time on Matchday Live. Mark, great to have you with us. How do you feel being back at the Stoke Kairas?
Yeah, it's obviously brought back a few old feelings. That were obviously some great times. Yeah, it's lovely being back and seeing the changes that have gone on around here.
Just like King Howard walking down the side of the pitch here, walking alongside him.
I nearly wore my match kit.
I wonder if he was going to get here. There was that many selfies being demanded, but great to have you with us, Mark. We had a chance to catch up with you to talk about life at Salford a couple of weeks back, and since then another win over a certain Ollie Palmer's Swindon. Did you have a chance to catch up with Ollie?
Yeah, I had a good catch up, and I did remind him of the score plenty of times after the game. It was nice to see him again. It's nice to see him back out, playing week in, week out. And I'm sure that over the season he'll go from strength to strength, and he'll be a fierce rival of ours at Salford.
Mia, you made the long schlep to Norwich on Saturday. Best performance of the season?
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me. I thought we were really, really good from minute one, to be honest. I think, maybe a little switch off in terms of their goal, or the first one anyway. But no, especially then coming out second half, obviously being 1-0 down. We've seen it a few times with this Wrexham team where maybe that's, shaking us up a little bit, but that wasn't the case, in that second half on Saturday. And yeah, really impressive. Obviously, the new boys that came in relatively, last minute on deadline day all really shone out as well.
And the 10 changes from Phil tonight. We'll have a look at the team graphic in just a moment. Was that what you were expecting to see?
Yeah, after the result on Saturday, I felt that he would make changes. I didn't think Doyle would play coming off at half-time, whether that was a little knock or whatever, but he's in the team. I thought Cody would start, he's on the bench. But apart from that, I thought the other changes were pretty much after the win. Give everybody a breather and go for the rest, get them some minutes in a competitive game, and hopefully take this team through to the next round.
And Mark, Reading making 9 changes, but sadly no Jack Marriott, who wasn't cup-tied. They've changed the laws this season. He's here in his kit, but doesn't make the 20. That's a shame.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure that Wrexham are quite relieved as well, especially with Jack's goal-scoring record of late, 3 in the last 3 games. So, yeah, it's nice to see Jack about again. Obviously, like myself at the stadium, it's nice to always come back and visit. But yeah, the Reading changes, they look good. They look strong this year in the league, and it'll be a good game tonight.
I think they're just protecting Jack a little bit because he scored so many goals so well. The league's so much more important than a cup game like that, so I think they'll just protect him a little bit, save him for the weekend.
Yeah, of course, Reading just hovering one place above the relegation spots in League One at the moment, so a form improvement is required to build on that 2-1 victory they had against Leyton Orient on Saturday. Let's have a look then at the Wrexham team this evening, because as Phil was telling us at the top of the programme, he has made 10 changes from the 11 who played at Norwich on Saturday. That means there's a first start of the season in goal for Callum Burton. He takes the gloves as Arthur Okonkwo takes a breather. Lewis Brunt, Dan Scarr and Callum Doyle form the back three. We'll wait to see which of Doyle or Brunt play on the right-hand side. Then Phil was explaining it's going to be 4 across the middle. Barnett on the right, James and Thomason will hold, McLean on the left, Broadhead and Lee in support of Sam Smith. Mia, this tweak to the system, the Wrexham fans had felt this season that Phil was going to need to be a bit more flexible than the 3-5-2 he's favoured in the 3 back-to-back promotions. Yep. Do you think this new system is perhaps going to be one that he starts to try and make the main formation?
I think it was first something we picked out in pre-season, over in Australia and New Zealand, and I think it was something we sort of picked out and at first thought it was due to just not having enough strikers on the pitch, so having to put someone like Harry Ashfield in that sort of number 10 role, just in, with as those 2 attacking midfielders, just in front of those sort of 2 6s, if you like. But Phil said after the game at Norwich about how that was always the plan, to sort of have that as system number 2, and obviously the usual one as well going forward. And it worked really well on Saturday, as we obviously saw someone like Josh Windass so good in that sort of role of being that sort of almost 10, almost an 8 really. And obviously when you've got someone like your big number 9 and Kiefer Moore up top, that's always very helpful as well. But yeah, I think that's what we needed this year, that sort of adaptability at times, being able to switch between different systems, because as we know the Championship's another level, and as we talk about sort of levels in terms of performance, it's also levels in terms of the tactical side of the game as well, so that was needed to happen.
Nathan Broadhead, Andy, probably the standout signing of the summer, admittedly against a strong field of new recruits, but he's had his injury problem. He's now got his chance tonight. How keen will he be this evening to show the Wrexham fans what he can do, and also to give Phil a headache for Derby on Saturday?
Well, I think he'll be desperate to do well, because he's been bitty, hasn't he? He's come on in a game probably that he didn't want to come on when he first came on for Windass, who got injured, and then it's been a bit stop-starty for him, and I just hope that he's fully fit now and he's raring to go. He had the international break off where he could recover. Now he's got to go again. He's got to get back in this team. He's somehow got to get in the team now, and whether he'll play that 2 10s and one of those tonight, or whether they do just put him up front with Sam Smith, it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, he's our most expensive signing, and so there's a bit of pressure with that price tag, but I still think that he can just come and just go and express himself tonight. It's a bit of a free hit for him, and go and play.
Mark, a word on Elliot Lee, someone you know well as a fellow back-to-back promotion winner. He's only had minutes in this competition this season. He's not had a kit yet in League One. How difficult is it for a player who's been such a key part of the team to now have, at least for the moment, to accept a role where he's only getting a run out in this competition?
Yeah, it's obviously going to be difficult for Elliot. Knowing him like I do, he's desperate to play week in, week out. But I think, as you've seen over the past few years with players, we've all adapted our roles quite well. And I think Elliot's a great guy in the dressing room as well, and that's very important, obviously, to what Phil does here. He'll be desperate again to impress tonight, maybe lay down a marker. It's all about, like the cup games are all about laying down a marker and showing that you can still do it at the highest level, and I think tonight will be no different for a lot of the players.
Well, I mentioned to Phil Parkinson as we open the show that Reading, of course, is a club close to his heart, and we can have a look now at his statistics as a player for the Royals. Phil was a key linchpin in the Reading midfield in the 1990s at their old Elm Park home, playing on 382 occasions, winning on 150 of those. But having racked up 137 wins already for Wrexham in a lot less number of matches, Mia, it just shows you the success that Phil has had here over the seasons in which he's managed.
Yeah, it does. And listen, what he's done. We spoke a lot about it on Saturday, actually, in terms of that. There was a lot of noise, last week after the QPR defeat in the media about his future already very early. And we were saying how, listen, this is a manager who's got a lot of credit in the sort of bank, if you like. And listen, I think, it was all sort of white noise to him, I'm sure it was, but he's done such great things at this football club, and that shouldn't be forgotten. I know it's a new season and you just go into it wanting to win again. Of course you do, and the standards go up, but like I say, he's got a lot of credit in the bank, and obviously coming up against the Reading side where he's really well loved. I remember away at their place last year. Obviously I know we lost that night, but there's a lot of banners with his name on at that place, so I'm sure he'll get a very good reception from all fans in this ground tonight.
On the training ground, Mark, did Phil ever get involved in your time here? Did he ever kind of show what he wanted from midfielders by getting out there himself and knocking a few balls around, or is he past that now?
Definitely past that. It was more of a do what I say, not what I do. Yeah, obviously Phil, he's very hands-on in the training ground and likes to review the clips. He goes over everything thoroughly. But yeah, again, we all know the career he had and the type of player that he was. He does remind us from time to time, but
I couldn't see him joining in a 5-0 on
no
a Friday.
chance, not anymore. So
he's not got the kind of Glenn Hoddle approach of, if you want to see how to do something, I'll show you how I do it. There you go, just copy that.
No, not at all. Jonah would, obviously Dave Jones would. He would definitely join in as much as he could just to show off. We know that as well,
yeah,
don't
exactly,
we, Ross?
yeah.
And is the portrayal that we see on the TV documentary, Mark, similar to how he is in the dressing room most half-times and pre-matches, or does he have a varying range of the way he speaks to you?
No, he's got a clear message. He's always had that clear message to the players, and he knows exactly what he wants to get out of the players and how to do that. And like we said before, he's a great man manager, and he knows exactly what that takes. He's worked all week tirelessly, making sure that the players are ready. So even at half-time, he's just trying to go over the key message again, look at their key threats, and obviously look slightly how to change the tactics if needed.
Well, Mark mentions the key threats in the opposition, and one of those tonight for Reading will be Charlie Savage, a Welsh international and son of Robbie Savage, from these parts, of course, growing up in Bradley. And we've got a chance now to compare Charlie Savage with Nathan Broadhead. Broadhead back into the Wrexham side tonight. A little bit more experienced Nathan Broadhead, but both of them with some work to do this evening. You can see their pass completion statistics are similar this season. Savage a little bit more of a midfielder, Broadhead clearly more attack-minded. Andy, what sort of threat do you think Charlie Savage will bring from midfield?
Well, just looking at the team that they've put out, he's been playing that left-hand side of a 3 in midfield where he's just got energy and box-to-box and all action. He's more, I think, looking at it, he might be playing a bit more centrally as the sitting one, so don't expect as much action, but maybe he's going to dictate or try to dictate play a bit more from the central areas. We've just got to get about him and do what we did yesterday. If we do go to that box midfield that we played on Saturday, we will outnumber them. So can we make the pass? Can we make that tell? And then can we break fast and furious forward with wing-backs and go and cause them a lot of problems?
Amir, in this 3-4-2-1 system, will Broadhead have to focus a little bit more on defensive duties than when he's playing right up top?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we saw Josh Windass was the perfect example of that, like I mentioned earlier on. Parkinson's always been very strong in the sense of that defending from the front, and he absolutely did that for us on Saturday, and that was maybe something we missed at home here at against QPR the week prior. We just weren't quite at it with that front two. But no, I think Nathan Broadhead, we've seen him in that sort of number 10 role before, and he knows it. He's very experienced at obviously this level in the Championship and obviously in the Cup too, so I don't think it'll be long before he gets off the mark.
Well, we wait to see tonight if Nathan Broadhead can break his duck. This match, a 7:45 kick-off in the Carabao Cup, last 32. We have got a range of matches going around the country tonight, so we'll keep you posted on those as Wrexham try and make their way into the last 16. Well, Saturday was a very successful trip for Wrexham over to East Anglia. A victory against Norwich City, lifting them up the table and renewing confidence in the ranks of players and supporters. Let's have a reminder of how the points were won in East Anglia.
Wrexham in midfield now. That's an ambitious switch, and it's picked out Kabore. What a ball by Sheaf. First time cross is a beauty, and it's there! Wrexham equalise! Windass slams it home. 63 seconds into the second half, and Windass strikes. But what a ball by Sheaf. That was absolute world. He split the defence wide open. 2 Norwich players committed for it, couldn't quite reach it. First time ball by Kabore, this time was perfection, and Windass, one-on-one with the keeper, just smashed it home first time. Brilliant.
Well, what a response by Wrexham, and like you say, a lot of credit has to go to Ben Sheaf. First start in a Wrexham shirt, what a way to introduce yourself to those fans. What a ball. Those Norwich defenders just can't deal with it at all. It's weighted perfectly, like you say. So Kabore doesn't even have to take a touch. Whipped in, and Josh Windass, right man in the right area, makes no mistake.
Well, let's not take anything away from
Wrexham
that
fans
cross.
making great noise now.
Blimey, let's not take anything away from the cross, because that's on the run. First time. He obviously gets his heads up, sees Windass in an acre of space. Like you said,
Kabore in acres of space. O'Brien and Moore at the far post, marked by one. Kabore drives it in, behind them, hit by Longman! 2-1! And Wrexham deserve that! We are piling on the pain of Norwich. 9 minutes in this half. And great first time finish by Longman. The Norwich fans immediately started booing as well. They're not liking this.
well, we mentioned at half-time that we just needed an extra 5% in that final third. Thanks very much, Phil Parkinson, because they've just delivered it in 10 minutes. Great ball again. We thought that it was O'Brien that was the pass, but no, it's out to Kabore, and again, second cross. And I have to say that Longman has done so well, so difficult to keep that on target as it's bobbling across to you. He just goes with his side foot back across the keeper. Keeper can't see it, 3 bodies in his way. And it just rolls into that far corner. Wrexham 2-1.
Like I say, it's a good strike, isn't it? And the keeper's unsighted by the time it keeps the move going though. Space on the right side of the box for Cleworth. Sweeps it to the far post. Too much on that, but Windass, after taking the corner, is still out there. Corner of the box. He takes on his man on his right foot. Cooler! He's got a foot like a traction engine. Windass again. Oh my word. I've got to say 3-1 at the moment. Flatters Norwich.
Well, I was just going to say, it just feels like they're there for the taking at the moment. Norwich, you've got to take advantage of this pressure. And I said it a few minutes ago, that man has magic in his boots. He's just ridiculous. You could just feel it as soon as he was going to cut in. He was going to go for goal. It just opens up. And he had one. He was so unlucky in the first half to hit the post. This time, no mistake.
Well, when he gets it in out of his feet on that corner of the box, we saw him hit the crossbar against Southampton for a very similar place. Mia's finger went up like it was in already, and it flew into the far top corner. And you just know the quality that he has. If you can get him in those good positions, he has the quality to finish, and that is just sumptuous.
I like this game. All together now. Parkinson out. Parkinson.
Maximum points then from the trip to Carrow Road on Saturday as Wrexham recorded an excellent 3-1 win. Well, tonight, as well as being Carabao Cup third round day, it is also the opportunity for the club to commemorate the 91st anniversary of the Gresford colliery disaster. The anniversary was yesterday, and we've seen a number of activities occurring across Wrexham in commemoration. And I'm delighted that we have on Matchday Live joining us tonight Alan Jones, who is the chairman of the North Wales Miners Association Trust. Alan, thank you so much for joining us on Matchday Live this evening. I'd like to start by asking you about the lamp that is in your hand. Tell us a little bit about it.
This lamp is a lamp that would have been used at Gresford in 1934, and I want to dedicate it to the club for the recognition they've given to the disaster over the years. That is, the trust and our present owners, they have been brilliant, and I think we need to show our appreciation.
Alan, you're involved, of course, every year that the anniversary comes round, but this year we've had something unusual and very special, because in addition to activities happening at the Miners Rescue Station and at the Gresford Memorial, where of course you're also the chairman, we've had the visit from the National Archives up from Kew Gardens in London, bringing documentation about the disaster that had never been seen before outside of the archives. Tell us what's been happening in Wrexham Library.
Well, they brought these artefacts down, these documents down. We've done a lot of research over the last 15 years. We didn't know they existed. Just to have them and hold them, it made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It's given us a lot more information about what happened in 1934, and it's been so well attended. They are really pleased that they came to Wrexham, as we are pleased that they came.
Fantastic. And is there one particular artefact that caught your eye and surprised you?
Yeah, well, I was ventilation officer at Gresford Colliery, and to find the guy called Cuffin, his notes, which were falsified, I've actually held his notebook in my hand, and I could see what the problems were.
Wow.
But that was on display today at the library. Unbelievable. I didn't know it existed.
Goodness, well, fantastic you've had the chance to see the document. Harrowing, though, I'm sure it was. You worked at the colliery. You were the youngest ventilation officer in the country, just 19.
19.
From 1963 to 1972. What are your memories of working in the colliery, Alan?
Camaraderie. Teamwork, like we've got here. Everybody had a job to do. You depended on that one man. That he did his job, you would do yours, and everything was okay. I've seen people ready to fight, but they've got up the pit and they've been brilliant. They really have.
And you're involved tonight, Alan, with the ceremony before kick-off. Just talk us through what's going to happen in a few minutes' time.
There will be a minute's silence, which has been superbly looked after every year here. I think everybody in Wrexham has a relative involved somewhere along the line. Michael Williamson will be laying a wreath along with my hero, Geraint.
Oh, yes.
And then I will be presenting the lamp to Michael.
And you also lit candles, didn't you, on Sunday night at the Wrexham Miners Rescue Centre for all 266 who perished. 266,
and we extinguished them at 2 o'clock on the 22nd in the morning to symbolise the explosion, the time of the explosion. Very, very moving, very moving.
Well, Alan, huge thanks for all that you continue to do to keep the memory alive of that horrendous night in 1934. We'll let you get on with your duties this evening, but thank you for joining us on Matchday Live on such a poignant day for everybody, and particularly somebody like yourself.
Thank you for inviting us here, Chris. I really am.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Alan Jones there, the chairman of the North Wales Miners Association Trust, as we commemorate the Gresford anniversary, 91 years yesterday since that fateful moment in the colliery. Well, this week, Wrexham took their press conference to the Wrexham Rescue Miners Centre and had the chance for Phil Parkinson and George Thomason to answer questions. George was keen to talk to the cameras himself about having made his debut, and we had the chance to catch up with him pre-match today.
George, speaking here today at the Miners Rescue Station, 22nd of September, an important date not just for our football club but for our whole community.
Yeah, of course. You know, as one of the new players that I've signed here, you know, I've really been brought up to speed and told how really important this day is to everyone involved at the community and everyone surrounding the football club. It's an important day that, you know, means a lot to everyone involved with Wrexham, and you know, marking it with such respect is really important, not just to the people of the town, but to everyone involved, and that represents Wrexham FC.
For you personally, tomorrow an opportunity potentially to play at the Stoke Kairos, having made your debut on Saturday. How did that feel after an odd start to life at the football club?
Yeah, no, it felt really, really good to, you know, finally get out there and get some minutes and help the boys. Obviously, it's always a proud moment making your debut for a new football team, but it makes it even more sweet the fact that we managed to pick up the 3 points away from home. You know, the travelling fans came in the numbers, and you know, it was a really long trip for them, so absolutely delighted to be able to send them home with an important win, and you know, hopefully we can build on that.
Nearly a goal for yourself. Talk us through that towards the end of the match.
To be honest, I've seen it back. I didn't realise how close I was to my own goal rather than to the halfway line. So maybe if I was a little bit closer, it might have had a better chance. But no, obviously it was really close to the end of the game. We just won the ball back and broke, and I just had a quick glance and realised I was the furthest man up the field, and just thought I'd have a go. But yeah.
For you personally, how has it been recovering from injury, and not the ideal start you'd like to life here at Wrexham?
No, of course not. You obviously want to come in and try and hit the ground running when you sign for a new football club. You know, settling into a new environment, new teammates, new staff, and try and show what you're all about. Thankfully, I've been quite a robust player over, you know, the years of my career, so picking up a bit of an innocuous injury is a bit strange for myself, but I focused really hard on the rehab and try to get back in the best condition possible. And now I'm looking really forward to staying fit and, trying to help the team with their goals and ambitions for the season.
And while you've been out of action, you've obviously still had a chance to meet your teammates, get a sense of feel around the club. How's that been for you? Yeah,
it's been brilliant. There's obviously a silver lining to everything. And within the injury, it really gave me an opportunity to settle and know my surroundings, not just of the football staff within the football club, but everyone, kind of connected to the team and the football club in itself. So no, it's not ideal to get injured, but it's allowed me a better settling in process, and also the opportunity to see the fans and hear them in full voice at a couple of the home games after watching and cheering the boys on. So now feeling a lot more comfortable with my surroundings now.
You've mentioned those home games. You've had a flavour of what it's like. Should you be selected, what will that mean to you to be able to run out in front of the fans at the Stoke Kairos?
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. I've played here before for former teams, and obviously watching the lads a couple of games this season, they come in the numbers and they really get behind the team. So I can't wait to be on the receiving end of that and, try and play as many games as I can at home.
And it's cup football against Reading. What does the competition mean to the squad? We've seen the chance of players getting minutes, but also a big chance to progress into the fourth round potentially as well.
Absolutely, we've got a big competitive, hungry squad, so everyone wants to play games and play minutes, and those selected tomorrow, they're fit and firing and ready to go. But equally, we know it's a really good opportunity to progress into the fourth round of the Cup, something the club's not done for a long, long time, so won't be taking it lightly, and we're going out there with every intention of putting on a good performance and trying to get a good result.
Perfect. All the best, George. Thank you.
Thank you.
George Thomason giving his thoughts ahead of tonight's Carabao Cup match against Reading at the Wrexham Miners Rescue Centre earlier this week. Thomason starts in midfield for Wrexham tonight against Reading. And Mark, of course, you knew George Thomason his very early non-league days. Tell us about those.
Yeah, obviously I live in Preston now. Longridge Town was one of my local clubs, and I've got a lot of friends that go to the games, and they always speak about him in very high regard, and they weren't surprised to see him go from strength to strength when he moved to Bolton and then obviously moved here in the summer. They were very impressed with him from a very early age.
Andy, he talked in the interview there of innocuous injuries, the fact he's not used to being injured, but he's had these difficulties since he's come here. When you see so many good players arriving in the squad and with competition for places so high, how do you kind of keep your focus as a player when you're frustrated that you can't even be considered?
Well, I think it probably starts with him playing through an injury, because you don't want to be injured straight away when you come to a new club. You want to impress, and he's probably felt it a little bit but carried on a little bit too long before it's then got too sore to then continue. Then it puts you out for a couple of weeks, puts you to the back of the pile. But he's shown there that he's worked hard trying to get back in the team. Come on Saturday, had an audacious effort from his own half, which was great to see the freedom of it. Maybe Parky would have been a little bit happier if he had taken it into the corner, because it was in the 90th minute or so. But no, it's really good to see that he's got that freedom and that ability to have a go. And it wasn't bad, was it either? It was not a bad effort. Great to see him back fit, another player back from competition. Looked a strong character, really good, comfortable on the ball. Looking forward to seeing him tonight.
And in some ways, Mia, George Thomason a bit of an exception to the rule in terms of the recruitment Phil's made this summer, because he's come from League One, whereas most players have come in from either Premier League squads, the likes of Doyle and Kabore, or from the Championship. So Phil must feel he's got something special.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, still relatively young as well, so still got that potential that I'm sure he's going to, determined to reach. But I think it's a weird one, isn't it? Obviously, getting injured without us really, not seeing him at all, and it sort of feels like we've sort of maybe forgotten about pushing the bottom of the pile a little bit. But listen, I think there's a great opportunity for him in the midfield. Obviously, someone like George Dobson probably would have been very happy with the fact that he did get that injury, because it's allowed him to start in that starting 11, and he's been so good. You couldn't really say you could take him out at this point in time. But listen, we've got now obviously Thomason coming back in, someone like Ollie Rathbone, I believe, getting closer and closer to fitness every day. So it's like you say, that depth is going to be so important for us this season. I think he could be a really, really important signing.
George Thomason, one of 10 changes from Phil Parkinson tonight. Only Callum Doyle keeps his place from Saturday. One of those changes is in goal. Callum Burton getting his first opportunity of the season.
Yeah, and I'm interested in our goalkeeper situation at the moment. We obviously had Danny Ward take the number 1 shirt in the first game of the season. Now he's had a bad injury, 4 months, 3 months, whatever it is out he's going to be. Where would Arthur's head be? You know him really well. Callum Burton, where's his head at with being number 2 and maybe 3 and then 2 again? Where does that lie when you're a goalkeeper?
I hope they've had a good role model to learning how to stay
Rubbish,
ready.
I heard. They got him out quick.
But yeah, obviously I've played that role in the last few years, obviously being ready when called upon. Mentally it's tough sometimes. You do go through dark days and you think, when am I going to get my next opportunity? But especially for Callum tonight, it's a great opportunity for him almost to stake a claim. I know Arthur's come into the team since Wardy's obviously got injured unfortunately, but I think they'll both be looking at it as a positive. Arthur will be looking at it as a rest to rejuvenate, go again, get ready for the next league game, and Callum will be looking for it as an opportunity to almost have a fight in the team. And I think it's a great opportunity for him. Arthur has obviously got plenty of strengths, and we know that he's got the capabilities to play in the Championship, if not higher. And I think it's just more about a confidence thing for Arthur at the moment, obviously losing his place and refinding that form that we know that he has in him.
Ruben Egan was added to the squad as well, Mark, a few weeks ago, a young Irish goalkeeper from Tranmere. Where will he fit into the goalkeeping mix?
In training, you need as many goalkeepers as possible. The shooting drills are meticulous. You do a lot of them. So, especially having Callum that's come back from a serious injury last year. You've got Arthur that doesn't really like doing the shooting drills too much in training, especially when he's playing. He likes to stay more focused, more game ready, and obviously Wardy, an experienced goalkeeper, would like to dip in and out, I'm guessing. Luckily when I was there, I used to love doing them, joining in, but we had other keepers like Brad Foster and Liam Hall that would also carry that weight. So yeah, I think adding Ruben in is just it's a natural progression. That with Wardy out injured, you do need the extra goalkeeper in the ranks.
And when you look at the side tonight, Mark, and the number of changes and also the change to the system, how similar do you think the strength is of this Wrexham 11 versus the league team? Are you seeing man for man much difference, or would you say there is a little bit of a gap between those fringe players and those who are playing in the league games?
I think we've seen in Wrexham before, they've always signed players from the league above every year. And I think this is no different. I think that even the players that are playing tonight are capable of playing Championship level anyway, and that's the whole effort behind Phil's recruitment, is always sign players that are from the level above. And I think it's no different tonight. It'll be a great opportunity for some players to showcase that they can still do it. Obviously playing a League One opposition tonight maybe suits a few of our players that were household regulars last year.
And when I've watched a few of your episodes of the Yours, Mine, Away podcast, Mark, one of the things you talk about a lot as a goalkeeper is kicking. Now, if a formation changes, as Phil has done tonight, does that change the approach of a goalkeeper in where and how he kicks?
Definitely. Obviously, if you've got a target man like Kiefer Moore, it's a natural thing that everything goes through him, get you hit through him. With obviously Smith playing tonight, who prefers to run the channel, you might see a lower trajectory kick from a goalkeeper, or more balls in behind, especially from the midfielders and the defenders, more channel balls, and that's what they'll be looking to get on the end of.
And Smith, of course, tonight, Mark, against his former club. Does it just add that extra bit of desire for a player to do well in this sort of evening?
Always, especially for strikers. He'll tell you more than most, but you want to score against them, but you won't celebrate it. It's a culture that we've created now, that players don't celebrate against their former clubs. It's a respect thing, but you are desperate to get your name on the score sheet.
Yeah, well, he had that 2-0 loss, didn't we, away down at their place where he played and he signed for the wrong team, etc. And he got that bit of stick, so he'll be looking tonight to, one, he'll put on a good performance to get in the team for Saturday potentially, but also just to ram it home that it was the right move for him.
Well, we said at the start of the programme, it's been a while since Wrexham have had a really good run in the Carabao Cup. Twice quarter-finalists, of course, pursuing a place in the last 16 tonight. But Mark Howard, who's joining us tonight, had a special run of his own back in 2014-15 when his then club, Sheffield United, made it all the way to the semi-final, where you faced the club you support, Mark, Tottenham Hotspur. We've got a chance on screen now to remind ourselves of that run. What are your own memories of it?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, it's an incredible achievement getting to a League Cup semi-final as a League One team. We didn't think that we'd get that far, but the season before, as I said to you off air, we actually got to the semi-final of the FA Cup. And at that stage, we said we'll never do that again, and the season after got to the League Cup semi. So yeah, then to cap it all off and play Tottenham home and away was an incredible achievement for myself, and to play at White Hart Lane in one of the last games that they played there, yeah, it was just a lovely memory for myself. Disappointing result, we lost 1-0 away, and they scored a couple of goals on the counter-attack against us at home. Christian Eriksen scored a lovely free kick, but most people will accuse a goalkeeper of not saving it.
I'm sure you weren't to blame. Well, great memories, Mark, and I'm sure Wrexham would fancy a similar run. Of course, they've got to get past Reading first tonight. And back into the Wrexham midfield this evening comes Matty James, one of the mainstays of the League One season last year. He arrived at the club having had a slightly scrambled off-season, trying to get his next move after leaving Bristol City. And a few days ago, before we headed to Norwich, he caught up with our head of media, Colin Henrys.
Matty, first of all, after a very different summer for you last year, how's this summer been? So almost your first full pre-season with the club.
Yeah, I think a little bit more relaxed for me personally, to be able to be, contracted to Wrexham, to be able to have my pre-season taken care of. It was a tough summer last year, kind of, bobbing around in and out of Leicester and things like that, trying to find a football club. So for me, it was a lot more relaxed. I've enjoyed the pre-season, we're still ready to work.
And a lot of players are joining the club over the summer. How's it been integrating with them? How have they integrated it?
Yeah, I think, when I first came, it's an easy dressing room to integrate in. The lads are great, the staff are brilliant, all the, like I said, the fans now have experienced, it's been unbelievable. So I think for the new lads, they've integrated really well, settled in, and I think all of them are enjoying it so far.
Does playing in the Championship have a different feel about it compared to last season?
I think the Championship is renowned for being, a grueling kind of division. There's a lot of quality in it, and I think sometimes people do forget that. I think everybody's kind of experienced good times and bad times in the Championship, and I think that you've just got to kind of stick with it. It's an enjoyable league to play in for sure, and I think from the neutral point, I think everybody likes watching the Championship football. So, we've just got to make sure that we enjoy it as well.
You've got vast experience of playing in the Championship. How have you found the step back up again this week?
Yeah, I think the performances have been pretty good. I think the results probably aren't just gone our way. Certainly at the moment, but I think there's a lot of belief in the squad. I think the work that's been put in, and I think that once we do get certain games right, I think we'll be a lot more confident in certain scenarios. So I think as long as we keep believing in what we're doing, I think we'll be absolutely fine.
Has that been the message?
Yeah, for sure. I think when we've watched back, certain parts of the game, obviously there's certain parts that you can always work on. There's positives and negatives, and I think to make sure that we kind of limit the negatives from the last game going into the next one, but we make sure that we continue them positives and we keep building on the principles and the beliefs of the football club.
So we stood there at the Stoke Kairos, a very different looking stadium from last season. How's that been for the players?
Yeah, I think, kind of the club's changed a lot over the last couple of years, so I think a lot of lads are used to it, and I think anybody that comes to the football club knows that there's going to be some form of change, just because of how quick the club is actually moving. I think the fact that there's, kind of the temporary stand's gone now, and, they're looking to build the new stand, and when that'll be ready will be, in the future. But I think it's great from the football perspective that they're able to, bring a brand new stand to the racecourse, and I'm sure that when it's up, everybody will be buzzing about it.
The ambition to a new stand,
new pitch. Yeah, that's it. I mean, the new pitch. I think there's been a lot of comments about it. It's been, it has been really, really good to play on. So I think obviously for us, if we can get as many wins on it as possible, that'd be great.
How do we now build on those performances? How do we get the wins and make this a fortress it has been?
I think it's the belief that we have to keep believing in ourselves and making sure that we, like I said, we stick to the principles, stick to the way that we want to play, and I think it will come. I think there's going to be times where there's games where we played pretty well and we've lost so far. So hopefully there's going to be games where we play well and we win. But we've got to try and make sure that when we don't play as well, that we can still win a game of football. That was a key thing here last year, and hopefully we'll be able to do that.
As a player who's played at many different levels, how would you describe the Wrexham challenge to those new lads coming into the team?
I think everybody knows that the club's moved so fast, and it's an amazing story, and I think that this is probably the hardest jump. The League One to the Championship. Championship's such a tough division, but I think the main thing is we have to try and remember to still enjoy playing the football and not get too kind of tightened up on the Championship and that situation. We've got extremely good players, and I think that I've said it numerous times, that we just need to keep believing in that, and then I'm sure we'll get quite a lot of wins.
You say you've got to enjoy it. How enjoyable is it to pull on the badge to play for Wrexham?
Yeah, right. For me, every time I pull the shirt on, I remember where I was kind of last summer. So for me, it's been really, really good, and obviously the fans have been absolutely amazing, welcoming to the football club. Like I said, players, staff, everybody that's related to the club has been unbelievable. So for me, it's a great pleasure and an honour. So every time I put it on, I just want to try and repay that to the fans for sure.
Matty James there giving his thoughts to Colin Henry's a few days before we headed to Norwich for that victory. James back in the midfield tonight, lining up alongside George Thomason. Matty James has suddenly got Ben Sheaf breathing down his neck. He's got George Thomason fit. I'm sure he's going to want to put in a big performance tonight as we build up to kick-off just 5 minutes away.
Yeah, I think he will. You know, nothing changes, in my opinion, for his sort of mentality. You know, you're just going into every game thinking you've got to play to the absolute best of your ability, especially obviously now you talk about Ben Sheaf, who played, you know, really, really well on Saturday. But, you know, I think tonight's a massive game for us as a club. I think we've got to pick up that home form going into the league. And, you know, Phil Parkinson over the last few weeks has touched on how important that whole game was on that Preston game in the Cup. So, you know, I think it's really important, and, you know, we can make a bit of history getting into the next round as well.
Just finally, Andy, no home wins yet in normal time this season, just had that win on penalties against Hull. How big an issue is that for the players to want to get off their backs tonight?
Well, I think that will be Parkinson's main team talk in the changing rooms. Go out, put a performance on tonight, get out on the front foot, take the game to Reading as much as we can, and let's get that first win, that monkey off our back at home, and then we can crack on towards Saturday.
Mia, Andy, Mark, thank you very much. Mia, Andy and Mark will all be back with me at half-time as we review the first half. Don't forget, if you've yet to sort out your pass tonight, head to wrexhamafc.co.uk/live for the iFollow options, which tonight is around audio. There is no iFollow video available tonight. The players are out behind me. We have a minute's silence ahead of us. Cofiwch, Gresford.
Yesterday marked the 91st anniversary of the Gresford colliery disaster. A disaster which shook the whole country and our community most of all, with 266 men losing their lives. At 2:08 a.m. on September 22nd, 1934, an explosion rocked the Dennis section of the Gresford mine. With more than 500 men underground that night, a number tragically much larger than usual, as many had doubled on shifts to watch Wrexham play Tranmere Rovers at the racecourse ground later that afternoon. We ask all supporters in joining us as we observe a minute's silence in memory of those lost that night. The silence will begin and end on the sound of the referee's whistle. A big thanks to Alan Jones from the Miners Rescue Station, who has presented the club with a commemorative Miners lamp. Well, it's a Tuesday night under the floodlights. You've got to back the boys and make some noise. Here goes! Substitution for Reading, leaving the field, number 19, Andre Garcia. He's been replaced by number 36, John Ryan. Mae pedwar disgwyl wedi noddi lleawswm o 4 munud ychwanegol. The fourth officials indicated there will be a minimum of 4 minutes. Added time 4 minutes. seigfed ar hugain o fedi yn erbyn Derby. I'r cyntaf am hanner awr wedi 12. A reminder, the next home game here at the Stoke Kairas is on the 27th of September when Derby are the visitors for our Sky Bet Championship match, which kicks off at 12:30 p.m.
Half-time here in the Carabao Cup third round. It's Wrexham now, Reading nearing through the better side in the first half. Callum has been the busier of the two goalkeepers. Wrexham with the odd moments of quality in attack. Ryan Barnett cutting in from the right-hand side. Of the Reading back line, there was a foul from which a free kick came to nothing. Elliot Lee has been prompting as well in and around the areas, playing off Sam Smith, and Smith also forced himself
Yeah, I don't even really echo what you've said, if they've heard what you've said.
I hope they have.
Yeah, I hope so. No, I think Wrexham have had those sort of sprinkle of moments and just not quite had that sort of final few bits of the play. I think, listen, a few too many times in the first sort of 20-25 minutes that we went for that sort of long ball over the top to Sam Smith, which just wasn't really working. I think if you're going to do that, we need to get those bodies round him, which we did do in the sort of 30-minute mark with Broadhead and Lee. But that's something we've got to do more. Like on Saturday, we looked at the likes of Windass and O'Brien getting round Kiefer more. So that's really important. But listen, we've had moments. I thought Elliot Lee really stood out in that first half for me. I thought he was brilliant. Considering he hasn't had many minutes at all this season. I think he's won, him and Ryan Barnett as well. Showing they're not ready to give up the shirt very easily in terms of obviously how much they've played in that shirt previously. So listen, a few positives, but I think a lot to work on as well going into the second half.
Andy?
I think Reading have done really well. I think they're really lively in that final third. They're asking a few questions. Our back three's not really played that often together, so they're struggling with, and Matty James in front with Thomason. They're sort of, that little gap in behind them is a bit too big, and some of their players are picking it up in there, and they're not coming and really putting pressure on from behind that back three. They've got to really tighten up that gap to just stop the ball going in there, really. But as well, like you said, I reiterate what both of you said, really. Chances at both ends, half chances really. They've hit the post. Sam Smith with a really good header. I thought he got a really good header and not much power on it, but the kung fu kick like the Charlton one, fairly even, probably about right. The 0-0 or 1-1 probably for half time.
Callum Burton's had to be alert, Mark, on his first appearance of the season. Talk us through how you saw his performance in the opening half.
Yeah, obviously a good steady save, 2 hands on it, strong. What I was more impressed about is where he actually deflected the ball, not straight back into danger. He actually managed to avoid the 2 oncoming strikers. And then he's had cut off the angle at the near post. I'm not sure if he's got a touch on it, couldn't quite tell from our angle, but
Keeper's union, right? Yeah, he got a touch.
Had his angles right, didn't get beaten. So no, obviously it's been a bit of a scrappy game so far. I think you can tell it's both teams have made a lot of changes. I think that's really reflecting in both teams' performance. It's not that much fluidity. There's not much cohesion in both teams, and I think it's resulting in a bit of a nervy performance, if anything.
Yeah, crowd were a bit flat as well, Andy, weren't they? I think it took about 20 minutes before I heard the first real Wrexham song go around the ground. It's got that slight feel of not quite on the same level of edginess as a league fixture, at the moment at least.
Yeah, but also you've got to give the crowd something to get behind.
Sure.
With it, whether it's a tackle or a header or just something to get
a moment.
going. A moment, yeah. And we just haven't really managed to do that yet. There's been a couple of free kicks on the edge of the box for both teams that probably both teams should have done better with. It comes to nothing. So like that, just that quality at the end of these moves just needs to up a little bit. We said it at half-time on Saturday, and they certainly did that in the first 15 minutes of the second half. I think the similar thing. Once we get in those positions, can we really make it count and take the lead?
Let's have a look now at the half-time stats with Mia. We're going to get Mia's eye over the half-time report here and see what kind of statistical analysis we can see to look behind the detail of that opening half. So Wrexham with 44%, just under of that possession, Mia. Reading edging that, a few more shots. And they've got 10 crosses in, only 2 of them successful, but giving us a bit of an indication that Reading have had the better of the play.
Yeah, I think, we said that, briefly, that they probably had the better of the chances, but Wrexham with the 2 on target, Reading with only 1, and obviously that one that hit the post, very accurate, but not quite there, and that's just been the sort of difference in that first half. Just no real clear-cut opportunities. I think there was a few, like we've seen on the statistics, crosses from both James McLean and Ryan Barnett, but just not quite finding that final part, of the jigsaw, if you like. But some really promising moments from both sides, and I think, listen, it's there for the second half. Who wants it more?
Yeah, 14 clearances required from the Wrexham back line, Mia. So we've seen that the Reading forward line are asking quite a few questions of the Wrexham defence. What are you seeing in the shape that Noel Hunt's side are bringing in the final third?
Listen, I think they're clearly very direct, but at times they've been very patient as well. But in terms of their possession, I've been very impressed. I think, we talk about at times, obviously, they haven't been too fluid, and like Mark touched on, that's because of the amount of changes that have been made. Obviously, Reading making 9 today. But, they have looked bright in moments, and you can sort of see the sort of connections maybe are a bit stronger in that Reading side because they know each other a bit more than this Wrexham side do. But listen, I think they've been bright, and, like I say, I think the second half sort of builds it up to be a good one. I think look at Wrexham's bench. We've got a lot of quality that could come on and make a real difference.
Andy, we picked out Charlie Savage on our head-to-head pre-match with Nathan Broadhead. He had an early header over the bar. What do you make of the Reading midfielder's opening half?
Yeah, I think he's done well. He's sprayed a lot of balls, hasn't he? Hit both channels on that longer ball. His quality's really good, and he's just a workman-like, isn't he? In there, he's constantly on the move, wanting the ball from his back too, as well as getting the ball back when they don't have it. I think he's been half decent. Those longer passes, we need to get somebody around him, stop him playing those longer passes, put a bit more pressure on him. I think we should just take another 4 or 5 steps forward, all of our team, and just go and be a bit braver really in our press when we go for it, and that brings up our back 3 a little bit higher up the pitch as well, which shuts down those gaps in between our units, if you like.
Mark, thinking back to your days here and a performance like that, what do you think Phil's likely messaging in the dressing room will likely be at the moment?
He'll be happy that they haven't conceded, especially going into half-time. I think the last 5 minutes became a bit scrappy, a bit on edge, and I think that he'll just take the positives out of that, and he'll be telling the lads now to go and put their foot on the gas. Obviously, Reading had the slightly better chances towards the back end of the half. I think that he'll be reflecting on them, but he'll be also encouraging the lads on the flip side that there'll be now space in behind. Reading made some good runs, obviously forward, and looked slightly more livelier, but on the flip of that, are they pushing too high, which then creates opportunity, especially for Elliot Lee to get in the hole. And I think if we can get some players closer to Sam Smith and show a bit more support at that end, I think the game could slightly flip.
How tempted will Phil be to keep the same players out there, do you think, for maybe 75 minutes tonight? Because he might want to freshen it up, of course, but this tonight is about giving minutes to players and resting players who are likely to be involved Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. So I guess there's going to be a slight nervousness, perhaps, in making too many changes too soon.
Yeah, but Phil's never been short of making subs. You saw that in the last round against Preston, and it really affected the game, obviously in a positive way. And I think that he'll be utilising the strength that he does have in the bench and in the squad. So I think the second half should show a bit more excitement from the Wrexham fans, and also from the players a bit more encouragement to go and attack and get that goal.
There are, of course, a number of other Carabao Cup third round fixtures tonight. We've already got some teams who are through in this competition. There were some matches played last week. There are also some matches tomorrow for the Premier League teams who are involved in Europe this season. Let's have a look now at those Carabao Cup scores around this evening. We've already seen that Brighton and Hove Albion are off to a flying start at Barnsley tonight. They are 3-0 up, so a really good start from the Premiership side. They look well set to progress. Cardiff City going very well in League One, 2 up at Premier League Burnley. Not sure whether Scott Parker might have rotated a bit at Turf Moor tonight, but if he has, Cardiff City certainly taking advantage there. All square between Fulham and Cambridge United. Lincoln, with the surprise score of the night, are 1 up at home to Chelsea. That would certainly be quite a shock if the Imps hold on to that one. Grimsby Town, of course, the big giant killers in this competition so far this season, having disposed of Manchester United. And Lincoln looking to try and follow Grimsby into the last 16. Wigan 0, Wycombe 1 up the road here. Wolverhampton 1, Everton 0 in the Midlands. We know it's all square here. And Liverpool leading Southampton by a goal to 0. Well, that will be quite a result at Sinsel Bank, Mia, if Lincoln can hold on to that one.
Yeah, magic of the cup, right? But no, listen, I think, you can see some of the big clubs on that list, and that's got to be the sort of carrot on the stick for these players. And obviously you want to win every game as a footballer, but that's an extra thing to look forward to. Obviously not been in the 4th round since 1981, I don't think, Wrexham. So listen, the big opportunity tonight to get through and hopefully have another magical night.
Yeah, I think we're saying that this is important to get into and protect our players for that. No, win the game. That's the most important thing tonight. Let's get through this tie, because you could get a Chelsea away. I know they're getting beat by Lincoln, but you could get a big one in the next round, and the odds of doing that is good. You can also get Grimsby, which would be great as well, because you're looking to get further on. So there's a big carrot, like Mia says at the end of this. Let's go and win the game.
And the one thing, of course, Mark, that's been missing over the Parkinson era here at Wrexham has been that big Premier League tie. We're yet to see one. How big a thing is it for the players, do you think, to have that prospect?
We've always been about the league performances and the league results, so cup ties were never really a huge concern. Our focus as players was to get the clubs out of each division, and I think it's still no different. You look at the positivity around the place and what they are trying to do with the signings. I think everything is always based on promotion.
Mark, Andy, Mia, we'll see you again at full on the same link to dissect this one. Don't forget, if it is all square at 90, we go straight to penalty kicks. We'll see you back here at full time.
club.
Substitution for Reading, leaving the field. He's being replaced by number 6, Liam Fraser. Leaving the field, number 8, Charlie Savage. He's being replaced by number 10, Lewis Wynn. Leaving the field, number 11, Daniel Chiawa. He's being replaced by number 32, Paddy Lane. Leaving the field, number 9, Elvin Hibashioman. He's being replaced by number 14, Dimonji Rushesha. Substitution for Wrexham, leaving the field, number 29, Ryan Barnes. Entering the field by number 27, Lewis O'Brien. Leaving the field, number 14, George Thomason. He's been replaced by number 45, Ryan Morgan. substitute for Wrexham, leaving the field, number 2, Alan David. He's being replaced by number 4, Max Gorman. Shooting for Wrexham, leading the field, number 28, Sam Smith. He's being replaced by number 10, Ryan Hardy. The official attendance at the Stoke Kairas, 9,457. Our grateful thanks to the 429 away fans. We hope you have a safe journey home. Mae'r pedwerydd swyddog wedi dod i gryfachau sum o 4 munud, ychwanegol the fourth official indicated there will be a minimum of 4 minutes, added time 4 minutes. Today's final score, the Stoke Kairas, Wrexham 2, Reading 0. Tomorrow evening, following the conclusion of the Port Vale versus Arsenal fixture. The draw will be made live on Sky Sports. That's tomorrow evening. Seithfed ar hugain o Fedi yn erbyn Derby gyda kick on top am hanner awr wedi deuddeg. A reminder the next home game here at the Stoke Kairas is on September 27th when Derby are the visitors for our Sky Bet Championship match, which kicks off at 12:30 p.m. That's 12:30. Cymer chorol o Tafon Stadiwm gadwyn y drwy nesaf adre i bawb. A safe journey home to all supporters. Please do take care when leaving the stadium. The foot shop is open for 30 minutes after full time. And we'll see you again this Saturday. Noswaith dda!
Wrexham will be playing in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup for the first time since 1977. They have beaten manager Phil Parkinson's former club as a player, Reading, by 2-0 here after an excellent second half display. Nathan Broadhead, with his first goals for the club, was the difference between the sides as Wrexham really turned the screw in the second half. Broadhead's first came in the 57th minute, a blocked Elliot Lee shot coming back to the Welsh striker who curled his finish beyond Jack Stevens. And it was 2 for Wrexham and for Broadhead on the 70-minute mark. Ryan Barnett whipping in across from the right. Broadhead leaping well with a header which hit the underside of the bar. There was confusion for a moment or two as to whether the ball had crossed the line. Sam Smith and Elliot Lee were following it in, but eventually referee Simon Mather was happy and Wrexham were 2 to the good. It was almost 3 at the end. Ryan Hardy going round the keeper, but defenders on the line managing to deny the Scottish striker. It mattered not a jot. Wrexham's excellent second half performance taking them into the last 16 with an opportunity perhaps to land one of the Premier League big boys. Mark Howard, Andy Morrell and Mia Roberts have been watching alongside me. Mia, I'll start with you. What a second half transformation.
Yeah, I think so. I think, to be honest, I think it was a lot of basic stuff, really. I think we just showed our quality in the places that mattered, like I spoke about at half-time. You know, it just felt like that final ball wasn't happening for us. And, you know, we've just sort of spoken about it briefly there, but those forward runs, that they make such that big difference. I know it sounds so basic, but you know, Nathan Broadhead just showing his quality by just being alive to it. You know, I look at that sort of first goal and just off that quick throw in, he's alive and he's more awake than the sort of Reading defences, thankfully. And then it falls to him obviously from the Elliot Lee attempt, like you mentioned, and you know he shows his class and shows why you spend the money on him, because he finds that sort of top corner. And then you know, same for the second goal. Really, I think again it's off a sort of second phase. The Wrexham keep it alive, and Nathan Broadhead again, he's alive to it. He's ready for that ball to come in for a second time, and it's a great header. You know, I'm not sure if it did go over the line or from the header itself, but again, you know, Sam Smith following it in and Reading make a bit of a mess of it in the end, I think. But yeah, not sure if it'll go down as an own goal, but you know, a brilliant second half really. I thought Elliot Lee, I spoke about him at half time, really shone and you know, did himself, you know, no harm in trying to get that shirt back, as well as someone like Lewis Brunt as well, who I thought was exceptional at the back as well.
Andy, you spoke to us at half-time about where you thought Wrexham needed to be tighter and needed to up it a bit in the second half. Were the areas that improved the ones that you expected to be improved?
I just think we had a bit more intent about our play, a bit more endeavour, brightness about it, and tempo. We were loads better in control of the ball. We made a lot more passes to then open and free up the chances for our wing-backs to get up the pitch and then get Elliot Lee and Broadhead on the ball. And I just thought we were just far better in the second half at that. We didn't give Reading a moment like we did in the first half. They didn't have really any spell in that second half where they came at us and we were under pressure, and we could have probably been 3 or 4 with the chances that we had right at the end as well.
Mark, when you look across that second half performance, do you think there's an element here of some of the players who haven't had a huge number of minutes this season just needing a bit of time to get into the game? Is that part of the difference?
Yeah, definitely. I also think the sustained pressure that Wrexham were able to put on them in the second half. I mean, the set pieces improved immensely. I think we had Thomason had 2 corners that went underneath the crossbar that caused problems. I think that's also where the first goal came from. Yeah. And I think it's just having that little bit of quality that can change the game at times. And I think by sustaining that pressure, Reading defended deeper and it created more space for Elliot and Broadhead to open the game up a bit.
Looking at Broadhead's overall performance, Mark, he's trying to settle into this system now, playing a little bit deeper perhaps than he might have done either for Wales or for Ipswich. Do you think he's played his way into contention for the match on Saturday against Derby now?
Oh, 100%. The manager will look at stats after the game and he'll look at chances created, goals scored, and I think that always puts you in the reckoning for a start on Saturday. And obviously the way that he's gone about his business in the second half especially, I think he's definitely in contention to start.
You know, I thought he had too many touches in the first half. He was having 2, 3, 4 before he was laying it off, but then you've seen the release that the goal has on him. His first touch is brilliant, his finish is great in the far corner, but then everything from there is 1 or 2 touch and it's a lot quicker and a lot brighter. Just a bit of relief really more than anything to get your first goal. And then I thought the run for our second as well, right across the front. Smith pulled out, he's gone into the gap, right across in a really good header, unfortunate not to score, but we take the tap in.
Mia, we heard from George Thomason pre-match when he was speaking yesterday in the press conference. What did you think of his overall performance today?
Yeah, I thought he did well. Again, I think it's a bit of a difficult one when you look at that first half. We sort of said ourselves it was a bit scrappy, so that, you know, isn't necessarily ideal for a midfielder of his sort of type, or any of the three really. But no, I thought he did really well in that second half. Again, a bit of a Ben Sheaf at times where he just gets on the ball and he finds that extra yard, finds that extra few seconds, which, you know, on first glance you don't think he has, but he finds that bit of space, and, you know, he's got that composure. And listen, I think it sets itself up for a really good battle now for those midfielders. Like I said, you know, pre-match as well, with someone like Ollie Rathbone coming back in, it's a really good problem for Phil Parkinson to have.
You mentioned Lewis Brunt a few minutes ago, Mia. We haven't seen him on the right in the defensive three very often, but just like against Norwich on Saturday when he came on at half-time, he's come in tonight and very much shown that he still belongs at this level, and he's not willing to give his shirt up despite the pressure in the dressing room of those who've arrived.
Yeah, and, you know, to me it looks like he's got a bit of that sort of anger in his game, and a bit of bite that's sort of saying, well, no, I know Callum Doyle's come in, but that doesn't mean I'm just gonna let him take my place. And, you know, like you touched on it, him being on the right today, we've seen him so often on that left-hand side, maybe on his sort of weaker side at times. I know he played there a bit when he was on loan at Mansfield, but, you know, he again showed his quality. And I know we're up against the Reading side who are a division below, but, you know, those defensive qualities, the basics, he did absolutely every single thing asked of him, you know, perfectly tonight, I thought, and really excelled like he did on Saturday when he came on at half-time in what was a really tough ask.
Andy, were you surprised that Reading faded away a bit in the second half? I mean, Callum Burton had to make a couple of good saves, one a free kick that pitched in front of him and a good save around the post towards the end. But aside from that, it was very much Wrexham in the ascendancy. We'll have a look at the stats in a minute. Did that surprise you?
No, not really, because I think there was more to give from Wrexham, and we just needed to tweak a few bits. I think getting too used to playing with each other for 1 minute, like you said, and the formation. Can we get the boys closer to Sam Smith? Around him when we play forward balls, but once we got those things in place, I thought that we had plenty of gears to go in still after that first half, and we certainly went through them. And I think it was us more dominant, not letting Reading play, than it was them being poor.
We touched on Callum Burton there, Mark, a couple of saves in the second half. We also talked about him at half-time. I would have thought he'd be delighted with his evening's work, wouldn't he? Come back into the side, clean sheet?
100% clean sheet, he'll take that. The free kick was a good save, to be fair. It was a wicked bounce underneath him, and it's one of them that can almost squirm through you. But yeah, he's done well with that, and obviously the save from Paddy Lane at the end where he's tipped it around the post is a really good save. Got a good dive off, nice and aggressive line, and makes a save at the end of the day. But yeah, he's come for a few crosses, kicked it well, and he'll be really pleased with a nice evening's work.
Now, he started this season probably third choice behind Danny Ward and Arthur, obviously. But with Danny out, if Arthur picks up a knock, could be a bit to the situation you found yourself in last season, where you're suddenly playing a number of matches in the league. How important is this kind of game for him to get in match practice in readiness for that possibly occurring?
Yeah, it's always good to just stay ready. It's good for all the players that have played tonight to stay ready for any occasion. I think you've seen that the players coming on, that there's so much strength in depth that you've got to almost stake your own claim and just be ready for that opportunity when it comes. And Broadhead's a fine example of that. He's struggled with his bit of league form at the moment, but obviously tonight would have boosted his confidence immensely. And I think Callum will take the same positives out of the game as what a Broadhead would.
And with Broadhead having come back from injury as well, Andy, there must be that extra bit of pleasure for him that he's got through the game, and not just got through it, he's excelled in the second half.
Yeah, minutes under his belt. I think Ryan Barnett was great as well tonight, as well. Forwards and back, going up and down. He's got a point to prove. He doesn't want to lose this shirt. He wants to play for this team. All of them. Matty James, the same, out the team from on Saturday, comes in, does great in the middle there. Thomason's new. I think that the second half performance was a bit of a shot across the bows to the manager that no, we're not going to just let that lot play on, and I will play the cup games. I want to play on Saturday, and I'm going to do my utmost to be in the team. And when I do get, like Mark says, the opportunity to go in, I've got to take it. I've got to be ready to take it.
I think it's the exact sort of mentality you want, isn't it, in the sort of squad, because whether it's on a match day or at training, it just, the levels across the whole squad just go up, because even, you know, the ones now with the shirts are going, right, well he, you know, Lee or whoever it is behind me is right at it, and I need to be right, you know, up there now. And it just, you know, it's brilliant to see, because I think it just, again, increases our performance massively.
Round 4 of the Carabao Cup, week commencing the 27th of October. The draw will be made after tomorrow night's games. There's 4 more matches to be played tomorrow evening. We'll keep you close to how tonight's matches have gone very shortly. Let's just have a look at the stats from tonight's game with Mia now, and review how this game was won by Wrexham, because there was quite a big turnaround in the second half, as we've seen. So we saw before the interval that Reading had the majority of possession. That stayed that way. Reading did still edge possession, perhaps surprisingly, but look at that total shots figure, Mia, 17 for Wrexham, and the vast majority of those in the second half.
Yeah, and you touched on the possession there as well, but I thought Wrexham's shape defensively was really good, and one I'd like to pick out in terms of that shape was Nathan Broadhead. We picked him out, pre-match, talking about the defensive side of that role he'd be playing in this different system. I thought he did that really well today, and defensively as that shape, I thought particularly in the second half we stopped Reading in terms of those little possession movements that they were really good at in the first half. Just looking at the tackles won, interceptions there, we were right at it, and that all comes from that Dan Scarr, Lewis Brunt, at the back, who I just thought were top today, and didn't really look like they've been out the side for particularly Dan Scarr to pick out. It didn't really look like he's had as little minutes as he has had this season.
Yeah, Dan Scarr, one of these players, Mia, who we only seem to see fleetingly in a Wrexham shirt, came into the side, of course, at the end of last season and did very well, but stepping back in tonight in that centre-back role, selected ahead of Connor Cody, who only made the bench. So Wrexham go into the hat then for the last 16. Let's have a little look at the other scores tonight to see who Wrexham might be getting in those last 16 ties. We know already that Grimsby are through from last week, as are Swansea City, Crystal Palace and Brentford. There are 4 more matches tomorrow. The Liverpool game tonight starts after the other game, so the Liverpool game is a latest. Let's have a look though at the results. Brighton and Hove Albion winning 6-0 at Barnsley. That might be a nice Wrexham tie. Brighton and Wrexham, of course, old friends from difficult days in their past. So a Wrexham-Brighton match would be a nice matchup, perhaps, in the last 16. Cardiff have come away from Turf Moor with a surprise win, so they continue to go very well, both in League One and in the Carling Cup. Fulham have beaten Cambridge by 1-0. Chelsea have come back to win 2-1 at Sincil Bank against Lincoln City. They were trailing at half-time. Wigan 0, Wycombe Wanderers 2. Well, we saw plenty of Wycombe Wanderers last season. Perhaps that's an omen for another Wrexham match-up in the last 16. We shall see. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Everton 0, so a bit of relief at Molineux. Wolverhampton Wanderers struggling, of course, in the Premier League, but victory over Everton there. And we've just heard that the Liverpool-Southampton score is now a result. Another difficult night for Will Still's side as Liverpool come through with a 2-1 victory. Andy Morrell, who do you fancy in the last 16? Brighton?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Had a couple of good games with them in your era?
Yeah, just a little memory I've got. Just that far. Yeah, okay. I think any of them, really, you'd take now. Wolves, Fulham, all of them. Here, especially, if you could get them here, that would be amazing. Any of them would do me. That'd be class, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's got Wycombe away written all over it, hasn't it? I can see the ball in my head.
It's one of them. You always want a Premier League team at home or a low opposition at home.
Yes.
It's the away games in the Cup are always a tough one.
Yes, I agree.
Going away to Brighton or to a Fulham is one of those horrible. It's not an easy game, and you go there and it's always going to be difficult. Your back's going to be against it, and you're not going to have much of the ball. So as a player, you're always looking at it here. You've got half a chance of taking the game late on, and then you never know.
Yeah, Manchester City in action tomorrow night. Could be interesting to see Pep and co here. Newcastle United. Possibilities. Andy Meir, I'll let you just step out for a moment because Callum Burton is here to join us. Mark, perhaps you can stay in and join your old training partner. Hello, Callum. Thank you very much for joining us on Matchday Live. Lovely to see you on the show for the first time. Well, congratulations both on the clean sheet and the win. How did you enjoy that tonight?
Yeah, it was an enjoyable game. It's obviously my first one since the injury, so it was nice to get that kind of ticked off. But yeah, I think it was a good Reading side that we played against like we did last season in the league. And we knew that they keep the ball a lot, and we just had to limit them first half, and then I think our quality showed second half. I think we got on top of them and created a lot of chances, which probably should have took more of. But at the end of the day, it's a nice win, and we're in the hat for the next round.
Personally, a great game though, Cal. Yeah,
thanks.
Make a couple of nice saves and that. Just come for a cross late on as well. Just it'll build the confidence, like you said, coming back from your injury. Any nerves before the game?
Tiny bit driving in, but it's kind of it's more nerves of whether the hip will hold out. Yeah. But that's you know what it's like after an injury. You come back, you do more in training, but obviously until you get that first 90 minutes, in a stadium where you kick in sort of every 5 minutes, it takes time to build. But no, it's a nice kind of one of them nice games to come back into a few saves, bit of kicking, a few crosses, and a win.
A couple of awkward back passes as well.
Yeah.
You know, to test the hip out. It's almost you need it to like start kicking freely through the ball again.
Yeah, it's just obviously you've played for years and you know that you get different hip angles, and it's just getting used to that, kind of digging it out again and having the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
Which I think I've got and I've had for obviously a few months, but it's nice to put it to test in front of a competitive team.
Even a couple that you've played through to Sam Smith towards, especially late on, that are creating opportunities. It must feel nice to just be able to explode and also try and be a bit more creative as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I thought about today was obviously the new 8-second rule, because that's the first game that I've played in it, and it probably helps if anything, because I was thinking less about the kicking. So it's definitely a new kind of tactic that you've got to bring into your game, and it's obviously it keeps the game flowing, but it's not good when you're trying to waste time at the end.
It's not an easy one, especially when you hear the referee start shouting at 5. You just think, I've got to release this ball now, don't you?
Yeah.
And if you've only got one player left up front, you're trying to find anything or just an area.
I was getting the 3-second shout and everyone's back to me, so it's one of them ones where I think the lads are getting up to speed with it now. You see in the league games that they know they've got to get up the pitch, and obviously having players like Kiefer, Rye, Sam up there that can hold the ball up by themselves is a massive help in that.
See, one last thing. Obviously on the free kick, it was a bit of an awkward save. Have you found that the pitch is a big change in that?
I think there's less bounce in the pitch this year.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
It looked like it came low off when you're almost half expecting a higher bounce.
With the Desso, I think this year it is a lot less. I don't know if it's sandy based or it's obviously the same as Collier's, and there's a bit more. It's harder to judge, I'd say, more so, and obviously playing on it the first time, it's a little bit different, but it felt really awkward that day, so I bet it looked really awkward as well.
It's one that you're pleased to get away with as a goalkeeper, because sometimes they can embarrass you, but you've got enough behind the ball to obviously steer it wide.
Yeah, it was one of them ones where I looked back and I was thinking, please, gone wide. But it's one of them ones you just got, as long as you do your job and keep the ball out of the net, that's what you're after, so it's.
Brilliant, mate.
No, cheers.
Cal, we've just been talking a little bit about the difference between the two halves, and particularly the way that Wrexham really took a grip of that second half, didn't let Reading really get into the game, whereas it had been probably Reading slightly in the ascendancy in the opening 45. What were some of the themes in the half-time team talk from Phil?
I think it was just have confidence. I think obviously we knew what kind of team they are from playing them last season, and we knew they were going to keep the ball for long spells, but I think first half we lashed, when we won the ball back, we lashed a few times and made it hard to get a foothold in the game, whereas I think second half we had more confidence. You see Tomo and obviously Matty get on the ball a hell of a lot more, and they didn't know whether to press and whether to drop, and we got all our joy from that. So it's obviously, you look at the two halves, and first half you've just got to do your jobs and stay in the game, so in the second half we can have a performance like that where we can get at them.
And did it feel that just rhythm was naturally coming to the outfield players, do you think, the more that the game progressed?
Yeah, I think since I've joined the club, obviously when we attack the far end, it's kind of in the players' minds to go that extra yard, and obviously
makes that big a difference.
Yeah, massively. Yeah.
It really does. You almost work on it of them sucking the ball.
The energy,
the goal.
really.
Yeah. It's definitely makes a massive difference. Just I think more for the away team's mentality, more so, because when you've got that stand cheering, getting a corner, and obviously putting you on the back foot, it does naturally, the teams do just drop, and it makes us easier then to get on the ball. And you've seen it, obviously Chomp's been here longer than me, and them early years, obviously all the lads speak about getting back into games second half, and I think you saw the benefit of that tonight.
Before the game, Callum, we were taking Mark back to 2014-15 when he reached the semi-final with Sheffield United against the team he supports, Tottenham Hotspur. A great run all the way through then. Is there any particular team you're looking out for in the last 16 draw that you really fancy facing?
I think any of the Prem boys away. I think
away.
Great. Yeah, that's a great experience to go to some of them stadiums and test yourselves against them players. Obviously, there's names going in the change room: Liverpool, Everton, Spurs. But that's obviously where every player aspires to be playing week in, week out. So we want to go and test ourselves against them.
Well, Cal, thanks so much for joining us.
Cheers,
we'll
guys,
see
thank
you
you
on Saturday for the game against Derby. Well done tonight, and here's
Thank you
hoping for the
very
draw.
much.
Thanks, Callum.
Thank
Really
you very
good to
much.
see you.
Good to see you, mate.
Callum Burton there, Wrexham goalkeeper, keeping a clean sheet tonight in his first appearance of the season, and a key part of the Wrexham team, who have progressed into the last 16 of the Carabao Cup for the first time since 1977. Andy Callum's obviously chuffed with his evening's work, and rightly so, but also interesting to hear his discussions around why he thinks there was a step change after the interval.
Yeah, I think he's played really well today. It's been a while since he's played in the first team and started, so he'll be delighted. Like he says, a couple of nerves maybe at the start, but once you get playing, he'll just be delighted to get one clean sheet, do all right, however you save it, you stop it going in your net, right, and come out with a clean sheet. He puts a bit more pressure on Arthur, who's number one. He'll have to up his game now, like we spoke about the other players, and so he'll go home happy, and maybe he might do a start, maybe go change a keeper, maybe start him on Saturday. I don't know, I doubt it, but he's put that doubt in the manager's mind.
Mia, this run that Wrexham are having now this season in the Carabao Cup is a little bit like the Virtue Trophy was last year, isn't it? In the fact that it's giving players who are on the fringe of the league team a consistent run of games rather than it could have ended in week one.
Yeah, it is, and that's exactly what we said about that competition last year. You know, it's so important for those players for those minutes. I know tonight, obviously, we were gutted to not see the likes of people like Aaron James and Harry Ashfield, who, you know, that Virtue competition was so big for their development as well. And it's a shame. Obviously, they've both picked up the injuries they have, but you know, for those players on the fringes, the likes of Elliot Lee, Dan Sky, who haven't had those minutes, obviously Cal Burton as well. You know, it's so important. But equally, like we were saying about Virtue last year, listen, I know we've only gone into the round of 16, but you know, you suddenly find yourself a few games away from Wembley going, wow, this could actually be something really special. So you know, you never know with football.
Let me just bring Phil in, because I can see Phil Parkinson is just behind us here. Thank you very much, Phil, for joining us on Match Day Live. Watch out, we've got a celebrity interview alongside. You might have seen him once or twice.
Some tough questions coming my way.
I'm not sure where he's come from. Yeah. Phil, congratulations on the win tonight. What are your reflections on the game?
Yeah, obviously delighted. We made a lot of changes. It's important to progress and get a home win, but equally important to get everybody up to speed. Some important performances for us tonight. George Thomason, obviously Nathan will get the headlines, and rightly so with his goals. You know, Callum came in and did well in goal. So all in all, I thought first half the shape and the discipline was good, but we didn't press with enough intent. It was almost like we'd worked on the structure, but the next stage is, can we press like we did at the weekend? And second half we did it better. We played with more intent in our game, and we looked threatening going forward, and had some really good moments, and possibly could have scored more.
Looking across the game, Phil, did you feel there were some players who just needed a few minutes to work their way into the game? Was that a reason why the second half performance was such an improvement?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a big ask, as Mark knows. You know, first of all, Callum, for instance, coming in, has hardly played at all this season, even in pre-season. George Thompson hasn't even had a reserve game. He's been out injured a long time. So it's always a big ask to come in, and yeah, you kind of feel your way into the game and get better as you went on. I thought George certainly did that. He grew into the game.
Nathan Broadhead playing in this system just off Sam Smith. He really seemed to find his groove in the second half, and I guess from a confidence perspective, Phil, getting 2 goals, having come back from injury, doing him the world of good.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Nathan, he's been a bit unlucky because he's got that whack on his calf against Sheffield Wednesday. He had that great chance against West Brom, but I think he showed everybody second half what he's all about. But we've got to give him the ball, we've got to trust him, he's got to keep moving for it, and we've got to find him in those pockets, because when he gets the ball in those situations, he's a very dangerous player, as he's shown in his career. And I was so pleased for him tonight, and I don't think we shouldn't underestimate the quality of those finishes. First one great, but the second one, that header was terrific.
Well, I was going to say, obviously cup games have always been like a huge, they're a good distraction from normal games, from the league games, and I think obviously with the rotation in the squad tonight, it's always good to get other people minutes. Do you think that obviously bringing the lads obviously at home, getting a win now for the first time this season at home is important?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as you know, Mark, this place has been a fortress, and we've got to earn the right to get back to teams not want to come play here. It's been too easy for teams this season. We've had some great periods in the games, but we've conceded too many soft goals, and we needed to find a resolve in the team, and we did tonight. And everybody, the supporters as well, on Saturday, and the players themselves, you know, we've all got to be ready to make this as difficult place for the opposition to play as possible. And you know, the record here over the last 4 years has been incredible. And maybe there's that feeling of it's just going to happen. Well, it doesn't. You've got to earn it every single game, every minute of every game. You've got to earn it. And I felt we did tonight. You know, some great blocks when they needed to happen. Callum's made a couple of decent saves, and as you know, Mark, nothing ever gets given to you in any game of football. And I go back to the National League days, no game was ever easy. People think, oh, every game was a test and you've got to earn the right to win, and we did tonight, and I'm looking forward to us repeating that at the weekend.
What's more important, Phil, getting to the last 16 and obviously the progression it gives you in the competition, or having meaningful football that continues now deep into October to get your fringe players useful game time to keep them sharp if you want them and if you need them for the league games?
Yeah, I think for us, because we brought so many new players in and they're all coming at different stages, and obviously then subsequently if you even got injured, we are a kind of work in progress team squad, and we're getting there. The lads are bonding well, I feel, in the dressing room and the training ground. The cohesion is getting better. I thought it was great on Saturday, and the second half tonight really good.
Cal Burton's just told us he fancies a Premier League team away. Who do you fancy?
I just think, you know, in the last 4 years since Rob and Ryan have owned the club, you know, the one bit of magic dust which hasn't been sprinkled is a big cup tie against the top team, and I think law of average tells me we must be due one this time.
Certainly a good chance of that, looking at the teams left in the draw. Phil, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson joining us post-match. His side moving into the last 16 of the Carabao Cup tonight with that 2-0 victory over Reading. 4 wins in the last 5 games, Mia. Life is good.
Sounds very good. I mean, like I said pre-match, it makes all that sort of noise about, you know, that man's future look very silly, doesn't it? I mean, I thought it looked silly already, but no, they've responded. I think, listen, it wasn't an easy start to the season with just the calibre of clubs we were coming up against, but also because of, you know, losing players through injury, and also obviously new players coming in and building those relationships and those connections on the pitch itself. So no, it looks very bright at the moment. And yeah, on to Derby on Saturday, early kick-off, and then, you know, quite an intense week following that. Obviously the Leicester away, and then Birmingham back here. So tough, but exciting.
Mark?
I was going to say, it's always going to be tough assembling that amount of new players with the pre-season that they've had out in Australia, and then trying to start the season with a bit of momentum. It's always going to be difficult, where obviously you're starting almost afresh. It was a whole new squad. It felt like a whole new team that was starting the game. So I would say that was the biggest thing that we've taken from tonight, is you see that a few of the old faces back out there and really trying to stamp the old mentality of what the squad has and the depth that they do have.
Andy, quick word from you, just overall kind of thoughts. We've got Ryan Barnett, who's quickly going to join us in a moment, on his birthday today.
Yeah, no, I really like what Phil said at the weekend about Norwich going to East Anglia and having Kings Lynn. We've soon to forget,
Yes.
you know, the last time we went to East Anglia, and so these games here are ones that we can just have a free go at, and just we've got to enjoy where we're at now. And you look at the 3 games coming up there with Derby, Leicester. Blimey, what's happened here? Do you know what I mean? And let's take stock and let's enjoy being here and the competition that we're in now, because it's been a long time since it was here.
Did you play at Kings Lynn, Mark?
I didn't know.
Oh, what a shame.
Luckily.
Let's bring Ryan Barnett in for a quick word. Ryan's in his tracksuit here, going to come and join us. Reunite with his old colleague Mark Howard. Ryan, congratulations on the win tonight. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And your 100th Wrexham appearance. 3 wins in 1 day.
Yeah, I actually didn't know before the game that it was.
Well, it was your birthday.
No, well, yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, it was. I didn't know it was my 100th, so I came in then. A couple of the boys sort of congratulated me, but no, it's a really good feeling. You know, we wanted to get through to the next round, because the gaffer stressed before the game that, you know, how long it's been that the club's been this far in this competition. So we wanted to put on a good performance and get through to the next round.
As a game, Reading certainly made you work hard in the first half. Big step change in the second half. You were able to find a lot more space on the right-hand side. Was there any discussion at half-time as to how you were going to try and unpick the lock a little bit?
Yeah, well, the gaffer said, look, we've been good, but we can be better. He wanted a little bit more swagger in that final third, and I think the lads brought that in the second half. We were a lot better. You know, the gaffer's really good at that. John Paul will tell you at half-time he regroups everyone. He never goes too over the top, but he always tells us what's required, and I think he knew that we just needed that final piece to get together, and it worked in the end.
It seemed like you managed to get a lot higher up the pitch. I think you and Jimmy obviously on both flanks, managed to get higher up the pitch. And then that meant that Elliott as well could close the gap and get closer to the strikers.
Yeah.
Was that a tactic employed?
Well, yeah, so I go higher, that means the fullback can't release to Brunty or whoever's deeper, and then that sort of leaves Elliott and Brody in those pockets. And I think we saw in the second half them getting on the ball much more, and we could switch it, and me and Jimmy getting more crosses in and having more attempts on goal.
Who's claiming the goal, by the way?
It's definitely Brody's, but Smudge.
That's so you get the assist.
Yeah, well, yeah, but Smudge is in there claiming it. So I'm not sure whether there was goal line technology in this, but I think it was Brody's. Just
might be the dubious goals panel if they're still around.
Yeah,
who knows?
yeah.
Wasn't a bad cross anyway.
It was all right. You know, there was a couple tonight where they got a few blocks in, and I just thought, sometimes it only takes one, as you know, to come off. And Brody made a great run, great header, and went in, even if it's Smudge's goal, but it's still gone in. So
just before we let you go, Ryan, 100th appearance, which stands out as the highest point?
I would probably say the National League promotion. I don't think
the Boreham Wood game.
Yeah. I think we've obviously had great moments since then. You know, I'm not down in the other promotions, but I think that one was just so special for everyone involved in the club. You know, the frustration of being in the league for longer than the club wanted to. You know, all the heartache that the club had with financial troubles, and to come back up, it was. I think the feeling after that game, the night we had, I don't think that can ever be topped.
I can well imagine. Yeah. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Well done today. Yes. We look forward to seeing you again very soon. Ryan Barnett catching up with us, the provider of the assist for the second goal claimed by Nathan Broadhead. Sam Smith still trying to put his arms around that, but Barnett in good form tonight and showing he's still very much part of the Wrexham picture despite the pressure of Isa Kabore and Ryan Longman on the right-hand side. Mark, I know there's always this goalkeepers union thing in football, you work together closely. Does it work similarly in the dressing room for players who pick up a position like right wing back in Ryan's case?
Yeah, obviously the squad unity is the biggest compliment that you can ever pay to one of Phil Parkinson's squad. What he manages to assemble as people, characters in a dressing room, it gives you performances like that in the second half. And I think you've seen that over the last 3 years. It's always been about the squad depth. It's about players that can come in when needed. I'm a big example of that over the last couple of years. Is that he manages to somehow keep people ready, keep people interested all throughout a season. It could be the last game of the season and someone's not played at all, but they will turn up and do a job.
Dan Scarr last season coming in so late and playing the last three. Yeah.
And that is the biggest compliment you can give to Phil, is what he does manage to do in his recruitment, in his due diligence about character.
Is it his biggest issue, creating that with all the new players this year, with the 30 new players, that same culture that he's had for 3 years, with you same stay older veterans, in the squad, you know, setting standards. He's brought a whole new 13 in. Who's going to take that mantle of being the senior pros, the standard setters?
Well, he said that's coming. He said that he can actually feel that coming within the squad, didn't he? So I think that, like I said before, pre-season was probably a bit disgruntled, too many people joining late, and they probably didn't manage to have that bit of bonding that they needed. Yeah. And I think that he's obviously alluded to it there, that's coming.
Mia, just a quick final thought on Derby before we close. That match on Saturday, a 12:30 kickoff, of course, and Derby, one of the struggling sides at the moment, looked like a good prospect for Wrexham to potentially continue this good run.
Yeah, it does, especially obviously off the back of tonight and away at Norwich on Saturday too. And I think, listen, we need that win at home in the league, and you know, hopefully then that would kickstart something, you know, a really good run. Then going into the next few months, I think, you know, we touched on there, you know, obviously a number of new players coming in. It sort of rings back to that sort of National League year where I think we brought in about 10 or 12 players, and it didn't really kick in till November, where we then went on an insane run and obviously did what we did in that league. So listen, it'll take time, but yeah, I think, you know, the signs are definitely there.
Mia, thank you for tonight. Andy, thank you. And Mark, great to have you with us, guesting on Matchday Live. We hope to see you again this season.
Thanks, Phil.
When, of course, your Salford City commitments allow. So you have to go back to 1977 to see the last time Wrexham reached the last 16 of the Carabao Cup. But they did it tonight as Reading were dispatched from North Wales by royal appointment. From all of us at the Stoke Kairas, diolch yn wylio.